Vamshi, I think recording is not enabled. Yeah, just now it started.
Yes.
Just check it out before you start the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
thanks.
Thanks.
Team, please take it as your responsibility also to remind Vamshi. Okay, just see OBS that recording red sign should be enabled.
Yeah, yeah.
Bye, Vamshi.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. So again, I'll just quickly repeat what we're gonna learn today. We will learn this four activities one by one. So first thing what I'll do is I'll go to this activity section and I will just type log message. Okay, and then I drag this log message activity. So what is the need of this log message? First of all, you need to understand. So, like I said, robot will perform this task automatically without human intervention. We have already learned that in day one. So robot is doing the task automatically. But how do you guarantee that robot has done your task? How do you guarantee that robot has booked your ticket? How do you guarantee that robot has tried to do a balance transfer from one account to another account? So that kind of confirmation a robot would basically give you using this activity called log message. So when a developer is basically using this activity, and every developer should definitely use this activity called log message in all the projects across the project, and every workflow should at least have a message like this. And in the log level, you will have fatal error, warning, information, and trace. So we will learn difference between these five different log levels. For now, I'm just saying information. Now you basically say like information log level, and then the message you can say started login workflow. So if you do it like this, whenever you see the logs in orchestrator it will tell you like it started, it ended, it performed some task. So this is kind of giving a message to the person who is just monitoring the orchestrator. Okay. So now what I will do, I'll take another log message, and here I'm saying an error. Let's say unable to open website. Just I'm giving a error message which says unable to open a website, and then final another log message saying another information. Let's say ended. Okay. Now if I need to run this like yesterday you would have seen, I just go to this designing and then I do run file. If I do run file, it will basically run all of these activities whatever we have in this workflow. So let's see. So if you see, it says started login workflow, unable to open website, which is in red color. That means it is an error, and then finally ended, and then this process took so and so seconds. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to tell here is yesterday in the right line also you have seen the same behavior, which is this is for testing or whatever message you wanted to put. You have put that in the log message also. But whenever you are moving your code to the orchestrator or to the production or the end state, the end part, we strongly recommend not to put any right line activities in your projects. Write line is only for your development purpose or your testing purpose to just check whether it is running fine or not. Only for your testing the things. But ideal scenario, log message is the correct activity to put it in your project. And then this message will go to orchestrator that we will see in the going forward days. But log message also will give you the same like a write line, but it will just give you a message. So apart from log message, let's try to use another activity called message box. Okay, now let's use this message box activity. And again, it says give some text to this. Let's say welcome. Now, if you see, I will help you understand another topic in UiPath called debugging skills. What are debugging skills? How do you do that is something you will learn today. So debugging skills again are very important when you are a developer. So if you go to any activity in UiPath, whatever you are using here, just right click on it, and then you will have an option called toggle breakpoint. Just use that toggle breakpoint. The moment you do that, you are basically putting this red color mark here. This is like a speed breaker. When you're traveling on road, if you have a speed breaker, you would basically stop, right? Same thing when the process is running. Let's say if I'm clicking on this blue color play button, I just clicked on this play button. Let's see what it is doing. So just started, started so and so process, and now you stopped it here because started login workflow is not even executed here. You are basically stopping your execution at that particular activity until you confirm. You cannot go further. Okay, like I said, this is kind of a speed breaker on the road. Until you confirm, it won't go further. Now, how do I go next level? Here you will have an option called step into. If I'm doing step into, it will go to the next activity. So like I said, log message will give you this started login workflow. So let's see if it is showing you that output. I'm doing step into, it said started login workflow. So these debugging skills are very, very, very important because robots will run very fast. But if I'm asking you, there is some issue with the robot which ran yesterday morning, can you fix it? If I tell you this, then this is the first thing you need to do and understand where exactly robot failed by doing this debugging. Okay, and this is a basic example I'm showing you. Going forward, you would see lot of places I will put this breakpoint, which is called as this red color point is called breakpoint. So after you see this, you see there is a started login workflow. It is already showing here, and then again I'm doing step into. Now if I do step into, this says a message box, a pop-up like this. Okay, now until I click OK, your workflow will not even go to the next level. If I'm saying OK, then only it will go to the next level. Then again I do step into, then it says unable to open the website, for example, and then it ended. So the one thing you have learned now is how do you put this breakpoint by doing this right click, which is toggle breakpoint. Again, remove this breakpoint here. Okay. Another way of putting the breakpoint other than doing this toggle breakpoint is go to that activity and then just say F9. Just click F9 in your keyboard and then you will see this breakpoint coming on that activity. And also I showed you what is the need of that particular breakpoint. Breakpoint will basically stop the execution to move forward. From there, if you want to go step by step, you can do step into, and then see how the robot is performing. Okay, now let's say I don't want to hit this breakpoint, then you don't need to click on this play button, just say run file. So what I'm trying to say is, if you say run file, even if there is a breakpoint, it will not stop. Only if you do this debug file, there are two options. If you see this play button, it says debug current file, and you have another option run file. So there are two options. One is debug file, another one is run file. Run file will not even care if there is a breakpoint. Even if there is a breakpoint, run file will not even care. Debug file execution stops if there is a breakpoint. Okay, that is one point you need to remember at this moment. Going stage, there is this run option, there is debug option that we will see. But now I am doing run file. Like I said, that will not even care that breakpoint. It will go further and execute the steps. Now I just triggered that activity. So if you see, I got this message box, but as of now it said only started login workflow. The next activity I have is a message box, but after that I have this unable to open website. This is not yet displayed here because until I click this OK button, you cannot go further. Okay, so if I click OK, then only robot will go to the next activity and then close the other activities and then end the process. Okay, so if you remember, yesterday we discussed something about attended robot, unattended robot. Attended means a human has to be there, a person has to sit there and perform something. Unattended means robot will do end to end without any human intervention or without human action. Can I put message box for an unattended robot? If somebody is asking you in an interview, how do you answer this? Can I put a message box activity when I'm developing an unattended robot? Chaitra, what is unattended robot? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear.
Yeah. Any idea what is unattended robot?
There'll not be any person to monitor.
No person to monitor. Okay. So, like I'm showing you, if I'm showing this message box coming up here with a pop-up, so that
Yeah,
means until somebody click on that pop-up, robot will not even execute the next steps. So what I'm
right.
trying to say here is whenever you are creating an unattended robot, you cannot use this activity called message box. Okay, so just remember when to use message box, when not to use a message box. But ultimately, this message box or log message or write line will again kind of same activities or similar activities, which is basically giving you an information or showing you a message or displaying you a message. Okay, now one more thing. Let's do one more thing now. Let's try to learn an activity called input dialog. So if you go to activities and then type input, automatically you will see an activity called input dialog activity. So just drag this activity and put it to the center. So now this one says input dialog and enter a title. So I just say user details as a title and label. I wanted to ask user to enter his name. So I would say please enter your name. And finally, if user enters a particular value, I should save is that particular value, right? So that is called output. So we will discuss more in detail what is input for an activity, what is output for an activity. Like you're seeing on the screen at this moment, every activity or most of the activities will ask you to enter the input and then that activity will give you an output. So now let's say if I am running this, what happens? Okay, if I am just running this input dialog activity, let's see what happens. With this, I'll also slowly introduce this topic called variables topic. So that dialog box is asking me to enter name. Please enter your name. Let's say I wanted to enter my name. I'm giving my name and then saying okay. That's it. Let's say we have already learned this concept called message box. So my requirement is once I ask the user to enter his name, I just wanted to give a message to the user saying welcome. If Vamsi is using this, it says welcome Vamsi. Let's say if Madhu is using it, it says welcome Madhu. Based on whose name was entered, I wanted to display their name. Can we do that? Okay, let's see how do we do that particular scenario. So that scenario is if you request the user to enter the name, then you are asking to enter the name and then output as of now it's blank. Okay, so if you just go to this output, it says out argument and then this is basically giving you the output whatever user is entering at that message box, that particular text box. So now let me introduce this topic called variables. Now let's see how do we create a variable and how to use these variables. Okay, so first of all, what is variable? Can anybody have or anybody can tell me what is a variable? What do you mean by a variable? In general, if you would have already heard about this text term called variable, just be open and say what is variable. No idea? Yes, yes or no, please. Madhu, I see you unmute. Anything to update?
I think variables are contents which could hold the same data type.
I would say hold the value.
I
Okay,
know that one,
like
that much.
yeah, that's fine.
Little
Holding a
bit.
value or holding a particular data for something. Let's say if I wanted to hold a customer name,
Yeah.
employee salary or whatever, let's say I'm just saying all the value. Now let's go back to this uipath studio. Now simple, our task is to ask user to enter the name. If I am using this input dialog box, I would say Vamsi. If Navin is using it, you would say Navin is the name of that particular user who's entering this, who's using this robot. So this name will differ person to person, right? If Geeta is using the name of that user is Geeta, so she'll enter Geeta. If Vidya is using, it will be Vidya. So if it is dynamic in nature, then you should use this variable concept. I cannot say like this, let's say welcome Vamsi, right? If I'm doing it, let's say for example, input dialog box. Now I'm saying whatever user enters, it should go to output. Now to go to output, please be careful. This is very important step. To create a variable in any activity, the simple shortcut is just say Control K. When you do Control K, you can create a variable. Now I wanted to create a variable for this particular input dialog box. And what is the best practice to create a variable? Now we are trying to enter the name of a customer or name of a user. Name Name means it's not a number. Name is not a boolean or anything like that. Name is a string. So if it is a string, just say str, which is a data type, underscore customer name. So this is a standard way of creating a variable. Now you say okay. Now the moment you do Control K and then create a variable, your variable is already created. Now how do I check if the variable is created or not created? You need to go to this variable section, and then here you see str underscore customer name is already created, and the variable type is string, and scope we will discuss later on stage. But this is a simple way to create a variable. Now there is another way of creating a variable. Just click on this create variable and then again say str underscore employee salary. And employee salary means it's the variable type is integer because number is a variable type is an integer, and then scope you leave it like that. So two ways: go to that activity, go to that output. You can say Control K, and then your variable is created here. And another way, create a variable here like this, and variable type can be decided by the developer, which is you. Now we will deal with this. Okay, now I have got this input dialog box. Now I am triggering this file. Now let's see what happens. Okay, let's say Kalyan is using this robot. I'm saying Kalyan. Now I'm saying okay. So if Kalyan is using this robot, but it says welcome Vamsi. So this should not be an ideal case, right? This message should be dependent on that variable. Whatever I'm giving here in the input dialog box, this message box should give you that particular person name, whoever name we have entered at that moment. For that, how do we deal that scenario? And one more important thing you need to remember is whenever you are doing any development, this is a basic development, basic task we are doing. We wanted to just display the username, whoever is using that robot, right? Now, if I'm typing Kalyan, it should say welcome Kalyan. If I'm saying Geeta, it says welcome Geeta. I cannot say welcome Vamsi because even you give whatever name here, it will always say welcome Vamsi. For that, how do I do that is just remove this text called Vamsi here and then just say plus, okay, just say plus and then use that variable. Now what was that variable? Customer name. Just say customer name. That's it. Okay, now with this what happens if I'm running this file? Let's say I'm giving Ramana and then I'm saying okay, then it says welcome Ramana, because whatever name we have given in the text box, then we have that variable name, and then that variable is getting displayed. That variable value is been assigned to this particular message box. Clear so far, or any doubts? Any doubts, anybody, before I proceed further? Please yes or no. At least if you're not able to speak, just put it in the chat.
No, Vamsi. No, Vamsi.
Okay. So let's say now the same use case. Okay, whatever we are doing at this moment, the same use case. Now I have another uh, additional requirement for this. Okay, let's say if the customer name is Vamsi, then don't show the message box. Other than Vamsi, then you show a message box to the user saying, welcome Vamsi. Can we do that? Now I just wanted to display a message for other user other than Vamsi. If it is Vamsi, I don't even wanted to show a message to the user saying welcome Vamsi. For that, now you would need to understand this concept called control flows. So these topics, whatever I'm telling you today, control flows, variables, arguments, this variables, arguments, control flows, this new sequence flowchart, everything we will learn next 2 to 3 days. Every topic is interlinked. If you are not concentrating on one of the topic, then you would miss something else in other topic. So I need your utmost present here. Okay, so now let's do next thing. Now I'm just going and using this if activity. Okay, if is like somebody would have already heard, if is something like a boolean. If you wanted to put a condition and check if the name is equal or not equal, or if the length is so and so, you can basically use this if activity. So now when you drag and drop this if activity, again you don't need any programming skills to use this if activity. Again I'm doing it. Just drag this if activity and then put it to the center. Now what is my requirement? If the customer name is Vamshi, then don't even display this message box, or else display this message box. Now how do I do that? Now in this if condition, what we should do is str customer name is our variable, whatever we have just now created. If str customer name value, if it is equal to Vamsi, okay, if it is equal to Vamshi, then don't even display. If then means it will go to true. So let me show you how it works. If str customer is equal to Vamshi, then this is true. I don't want even to display anything. So this is true case. If this is false case. Okay, now let's see what happens. I'll go step by step. I'll put that breakpoint and then show you the execution how it goes. I'm putting a breakpoint. I'm doing F9 like I have already told you. Other way to do it is a toggle breakpoint. I just did F9 and then I have the breakpoint here. I'm doing this debug so that it will debug step by step. Let's see how this if condition will work. And most of the project you will definitely see lot of if conditions they would use. So we will learn how this if condition will work. So now we stopped the robot at input dialog box. So now it opens a pop-up asking for a name. Now here I'm saying Madhu, for example, and then I'm saying okay. Now it checks if the customer name is equal to Vamshi or not. We can also check it here in this immediate panel. Okay, so this is another panel we are learning for the first time. So let me put that as well, which is immediate panel. Okay guys, this is very important. Nobody would tell you how do you debug, how do you get used to these panels. If you are missing it, that's okay, but after you go through this video one more time, just replicate whatever I'm doing, that is also fine, because you will know what are these panels, different panels. Okay, so now what I'm doing, we have entered a particular name here. Now I wanted to see what is there in str customer name. Now how do I see what is there in str customer name is go to this immediate panel and then here you say str customer name and then it displays a person's name whatever I have entered in that input dialog box, which is Madhu. Let's go and see if there is any other variable. Let's say str employee name. Sorry, it should be integer employee salary, but I have given it as str. But let's see what is there in employee salary. It says 0. Any idea why it is 0? Did we enter employee salary anywhere? No, we have not entered.
No.
But how does it show you 0? data type. And what is the data type of employee salary?
Integer.
Integer. So what I'm trying to say here is the default values of integer. So we have not entered any value to integer, which is employee salary. So the default value of integer is 0. For string, it is empty, which is blank. For boolean, boolean is like a true or false. So the default value of a boolean is false. Okay. This is again a commonly asked a very basic level question. What is the default value of an integer? And the answer is 0. But generally the customer name, if I would have not entered any value to customer name, it should have given you blank. But we have already assigned customer name as Madhu, so it says customer name as Madhu. Now what is our next step to check if customer name, which is Madhu, is equal to Vamshi? Is that true? No, because customer name is Madhu. I'm comparing that particular name with Vamsi, so this is obviously false, so it will go to false area. So what we are trying to learn is, in if we have two blocks. Okay, let me show you that block very carefully. This is first block, which is true condition block, which is then, and this is another block, which is false condition block, which is else. If this condition is true, then true block will get executed. If this condition is false, then else part, whatever you have in else block, will get executed, and then it will display whatever you have in that else block. Now I'm doing step into, it will go to a else block, and it says welcome Madhu, whatever we have entered in that str name, it said welcome Madhu, and then continue, it's done. So if condition is basically having two blocks. If it is true, it will come here. If it is false, it will come here. Let's say I wanted to add one more logic here. If the customer name is Vamshi, I just wanted to say welcome admin. If it is Vamshi, I wanted to say welcome admin. For other person, I just wanted to say whatever name they have entered. Now let's learn another concept here with this again debugging. Now let's see what happens. Okay, input dialog box, and it asks me for a name. Now I'm giving VAMSI Vamsi, and then I'm saying okay. Now can somebody guess me what will happen? Will it go to true block or will it go to false block? Now I'm comparing str customer name if it is equal to Vamshi. Now my question is, will it go to true block or false block in this if condition?
Goes to true block.
Okay, Geeta says true block. I want all the answers to just see if everybody is present here. Just go on mute, just say true block or false block. We'll start with Chaitra.
True.
Madhu?
Yeah, true.
Ramna? Ramna, if you are there, true or
True
false?
block.
True block. Kalyan?
It's true.
Naveen? Just
It's true.
Vidya?
True.
Okay. Everybody says true, but I'm saying false, and I'll tell you the reason. Okay. Everybody here, almost 7 people said it will go to true block. And then I clearly displays here. Let me clear everything. I don't have anything now. When I have got the input dialog box, I want to see what was the person's name entered. It says Vamsi. Now I'm comparing Vamsi is equal to Vamsi, but here I'm comparing with capital V. Here Vamsi is in capital V, and then I have entered small v, and then when I'm doing step into, it goes to false. So what I'm trying to say here is this if condition comparison is very, very crucial and very critical thing. And it is whenever you're dealing with strings, okay, whenever you're dealing with string, because this is a string, it is case sensitive. So what I'm trying to say about case sensitive is the characters, if it is small, lower character or capital case or upper case, it will also compare that capital case or lower case or capital case as well. So that is the reason when we have entered small v, it did not even thought these two are same, and then it went to false case and then entered that whatever we have in the false part. Okay, so how do we overcome this? For that, how do we fix this issue? For that, simple, what we need to do is whatever user enters here, the customer, and let it be a capital V, capital A, capital M, or all the 5 letters in capital or all the 5 letters in small, we don't even care. We just do whatever user enters. I just say dot to lower. What I'm saying is, if user enters any character in capital or any character in smaller, I don't care. I just say dot to lower. Now, if user entered anything, I wanted to check if that is equal to small VAMSI. Now, if we check this condition, let's see if again the same round, we will do it one more time. And with this, what I'm trying to help you understand is not everything you cannot just look at that particular data and see this goes to here and this goes to here. Everything is case sensitive, and you need to debug and see what is the value you have in that string. Only after debug only you'll get to know will it go to true condition or false condition. This is a very basic example I'm telling you, but in an ideal scenario you will see a lot of things. Here I'm saying capital V, small a, capital M, capital S, and then small I. Now I'm saying okay. Now what happens if str customer name is like this? Now when I'm saying str customer name dot to lower, so to lower means I'm converting this all the characters to lowercase. Now if we see, all of them went to lower characters. Same thing, instead of to lower, if I wanted to convert to to upper, again you have the same method, to upper. Now if you see, everything has went to capital letters. Now this condition will check if everything is small, if the 5 characters are correctly matched. Now if it is correctly matched, then it will go to true block, and then your message box is executed, and then everything was perfect. Geeta, any question?
No, Vamsi.
So like this, in the day 4 or 5, we will learn lot of methods. So this to lower is one of the method. To lower is one of the method in string manipulations. So like this, we have almost 10 commonly used methods. For example, substring. For example, split. Like that, you have commonly used method like trimming, substringing, substring, split, trim end, trim start, index, lot of things. So that I don't want to start it from the initial days itself, but this is all about a data. Now how do you manipulate that data according to your business case requirement, according to your use, like I mentioned yesterday also, every requirement you will see a PDD document. According to the PDD document, you will write these conditions. Only thing as a developer, I'm always not telling you you don't need any programming skills. You really don't need any programming skills, but what you need to do is you need to understand which method you should use at what time and what is the syntax. For example, same thing like whatever we did now, which is customer name to lower, but let's say if I miss to put this double quotes here, it says this error. So as a developer, you only need to understand how to build that condition. I have built that condition, but you still have this error. So only by looking at this, you can all try and see what can be, how do you fix this problem. And then finally you realize that you should put this double quotes at the end, and then your error is gone. Not only this if condition, every activity in UiPath other than invoke code activity that we will discuss later, other than that, most of the activities, everything you need to understand is how to use that activity, how do you create that condition. Clear everybody so far?
Vamsi.
Yes, Vamshi.
Okay, thanks for your confirmation. So now let's do one more thing. Same requirement, okay, let's say same requirement. If the customer name is Vamshi, I want to ask the user to enter the name again. If it is not Vamshi, just show the message box. Can somebody with the knowledge whatever you have at this moment, can we do this? My requirement is simple. If the entered name is Vamshi, then don't even show the message box. Ask the user to enter the name again. If it is other than Vamsi, then just show the message to the user saying welcome so and so person. If that was your requirement, what do you do? How should we do this? With that if condition logic, can we do anything? Just think of 15 seconds for you. Anything, please be open and then just say it off. Because we are all learning together. If you are silent, then it would be difficult for me. Naveen, what is the requirement I've said? Naveen, if you are speaking, you are on mute. Anybody else? What is the requirement I mentioned? So, very silent. Please, can you all first go on mute at least? I just wanted to check if my internet is okay or if you're not able to hear me or hearing me okay.
Uh,
We can hear you.
Then please respond to me, no? Because if you are responding, I'll get to know that you are understanding something.
okay, actually the requirement is if it is Vamsi, it should ask for another name.
Mhm.
If there is so, it should uh, display the message box as welcome
That
plus
person.
the name.
Yeah. Any way can we do this, Geeta?
We can give some user details again like that under if condition.
Okay.
If it is true.
If it is true, okay, if it is equal to Vamshi, then you're saying, do I need to put input dialog box again? Is that right?
Yes.
Let's say after I put this input dialog box in the then condition, let's say user is entered Vamshi again. So again, if it is equal to Vamshi, then again that will become true. Then again we need to put in another input dialog box, which is actually not serving a purpose. Okay, to overcome this problem, let me introduce this concept called flowchart. Okay, so first of all, hope you are all clear with my requirement. My requirement was very simple. If you see a person name as Vamsi, then ask the name again. If it is other than Vamsi, just show the message box. But in sequence, what generally happens is sequence is like step-by-step process. Right? Sequence is a step-by-step process. You cannot execute this activity again. So once this activity is executed, it will come down, and then this is executed, it will come down. If this is executed, it will go in next. Whatever activities you put it inside a sequence, because this is a sequence activity. So sequence is a sequential way or a step-by-step way. You basically see that activity is getting executed. That is what I've put it here. Is a step-by-step execution process. Okay. Now let me introduce this concept called flowchart. Okay, I just clicked on this flowchart, and then let's say uh, day2 underscore flowchart. So now the moment you create a flowchart, you would see something like this. Okay, now the same requirement, let's try to do in the flowchart. Now I would say input dialog box, because the first requirement is I wanted to ask the user to enter the name. To enter, I am just saying in the display name, asking display name is needed to give the proper information for your next developer. Let's say you are the developer at this moment for this project, but later on some other person may pick up your project, so that person will get to know what is this activity doing. So to help your co-developer, this display names will help him. So I'm just saying asking user to enter name. Okay, now ignore my spellings. So I have asked the user to enter the name. So let me put some label here, enter name. Now the same like whatever we have done in the flowchart, after user enters the name. Now let's see another important thing. In the input dialog flowchart, we have created this variable, right? str customer name. Now, can I use this customer name, this particular variable in this workflow? Let's see that. I don't even have that variable name and I cannot even access that variable name. See str underscore customer name. I cannot even access this particular variable, whatever I have created in another variable, another workflow. I cannot access that variable in this newly created flowchart or newly created sequence. So what I'm trying to say here is you can access this variables only within that workflow. You cannot access this variable in any other workflow other than this current workflow. Okay, so this is again very important point. Some of the trainees, whoever I have trained, they say, sir, the same thing whatever you have done in today's session, but I'm not able to see that variable. The answer for that is this variable is only within this workflow scope. You cannot access that in the another workflow. So now for that again you need to create a new variable. So let me do it in another way now. I'm just clicking on this create variable. I'm saying str underscore user name and the variable type is string, so I'm not even changing this and I'm just going here and then assigning that particular variable name, which is str username. Now what is my requirement? If username is Vamsi, then ask the user to enter again. If it is not Vamsi, then just show the message box. For that, you have an activity called flow decision flowchart, and we also learn flow decision. So let's see what is flowchart and what is flow decision. So whatever we have started now is flowchart activity. Inside flowchart activities, let's see what all the other activities we will find in UiPath. See, when you type flowchart, you will see flow chart. This is this one, and flow decision. So let me bring this flow decision and put it to this point. Now decision is again something like how if condition will work. I am again repeating this point. This flow decision will work exactly like if condition. Like you would have already seen, if means if that condition is true, it will go to true block. If that condition is false, it will go to false block. Okay. Now the same thing, same drama, whatever we have done it in the sequence with the if condition, the same thing, flow decision activity. Now we should basically create a condition, right? Now in the condition, let's say str username dot to lower whatever we have learned in the before sequence. If str username dot to lower is equal to, let's say, Gita. Let's say I don't want to display message box for Gita, and other than Gita I wanted to display for other people. Str username dot to lower is equal to Gita. That means it will compare if the username is equal to Gita. If it is Gita, I want to again ask the user to enter the name. So I'm just dragging and dropping it to this previous activity. So what is the benefit of flowchart is you can again control the flow of the execution based on your development, based on your however you are developing it. Like I said, I'm again just saying that check if name is Gita. Check if name is Gita. If the name is Gita, then again ask the user to enter the name. If it is other than Gita, I just wanted to show a message box to the user. Here I'm saying with the text, welcome, and then that particular username, whoever you have entered it. Okay, now let's see how it works. So again, after I run this, I'll just show you how I have developed this. But overall, I want somebody to tell me the difference between sequence and flowchart. by understanding this concept overall. Okay, so now I'm just triggered this flowchart. Let's see what happens. So now I'm entering the name because this is asking me to enter the name. I'm saying capital G E capital T H A. I've entered Geeta. So if the name is Geeta, then if this condition is true, it is again asking me for Geeta. Let's say again I'm saying Geeta. So again this condition is gonna become true. How many times you give Geeta, it will keep asking you for that particular name. Let's say other than Geeta, let's say I'm giving Chaitra. Now I am saying okay. Now Chaitra is not equal to Geeta. That means a new person. If it's a new person, my requirement is to display that person's name and then say okay. So what did we do here, which we cannot do it in sequences? In sequence, you cannot put that control flow again from you again ask for it. You cannot even have that connectors here in the sequence, right? In flowchart, after this condition is done, you can again control here. Again, you can put it like this. If you see again, after I'm showing a message box, again I'm asking to enter the name. Now let's see what happens. So flowchart is basically you can control the execution of the robot according to your requirement. Sequence is like a sequential way or a step-by-step way. You cannot even bring back your execution point again to the first activity. Now again I'm saying Geeta. So Geeta is equal to Geeta. So it will again go back to your name. Let's say here I'm saying Chaitra. So Chaitra is not equal to Geeta. So it should give you a message box. It is giving you a message box. And now I'm saying okay. Then again it will ask for a new person's name. Now I'm saying Naveen. So like that, until you stop the process, it will keep asking you the name. So this is how you would need to select whether you need a flowchart, whether you need a sequence. Based on your requirement, you would need to select. So like we did it like this process will never stop because it will continuously keep asking for the name. It will display the name, again asking for the name, display the name, again ask the name. This will keep on going on. So for that, there is a way to stop it by just clicking on the stop. If you stop that, this message box also will get closed and then you're done and then you can start the new things. Okay, so now that's the difference between sequence and flowchart, and in this ways you go for flowchart, and for this purposes you should go for sequence. Now I want somebody to just give your points on differences between sequence and flowchart. Again, I'm seeing silence. Guys, please make this session interactive. If it is silent, it would be very difficult for me to continue within a long run. Vidya, please go ahead.
Yeah. Sequence is like it is a execution by step,
Yeah, correct.
step-by-step execution process.
Mhm.
And whereas in flowchart, it continuously runs until the execution happens within the condition false, no?
Yeah.
That one.
So simple flowchart is something we can control the execution of the robot. In sequence, it is a sequential way according to your requirement, whatever you have put it inside a sequence, because input dialogues is a sequence. Okay, this is a sequence. This is a flowchart. So flowchart, inside flowchart, you can control your execution based on these points. This pointer connections, everything is not possible in the sequence. So that is a major difference between these two activities. Okay, and in interviews, somebody would ask you, this is your requirement. Would you prefer to use sequence or flowchart for this requirement? Then the point you need to remember when you're saying the answer as flowchart or sequences, should that go again kind of iterative thing? Iterative means like this again, after doing something again it should go back and start the things. If it is something like this, your answer should be flowchart. If it is a linear process, then you should say sequence. Okay, now state machine is something we will continue in the next classes. So just reminding or rewinding whatever we have done so far. So we yesterday we have just started with the new process here, and we have created a name of that particular process as banking customer data, and then we have learned the simple activity called write line activity, And then today we have learned what is log message activity. And then inside log message, we have seen there are 5 types of levels, which is information, error, warning, trace, and fatal. And the selection, whatever you need to do select, it depends on where you are using this log level. If you are putting it in an error scenario or exception scenario, which is a different topic, at that time you should basically select as an error or else an information. But overall, you remember these 5 types of log levels. And other than that, we have learned what is a message box activity, which would basically show a pop-up for you. Until you click on OK, you cannot proceed further. Only after you click OK, it will go and execute the next activities. And message box activity should not be used in an unattended robot, because this is blocking the execution further. And after that, we have used this input dialog box activity. This input dialog box activity, we have put it in the sequence, we have put it in the flowchart, and we have done some use case like differentiating in the sequence and flowchart. And also we have seen one of the string manipulation method called to lower and also to upper, which is going to convert your characters to lowercase or to uppercase according to your requirement. When a developer has to create this condition, that is your choice. Wherever you wanted to compare something, you would say to lower or to upper and then do something. Okay, now we already seen this project section yesterday, where this project consists of all the default projects of default dependencies and everything. Now, one important thing I have not got enough time to cover yesterday is dependencies. So if you would have seen the course content, we would deal with PDF automation as well. PDF, let's say if you purchase anything in Flipkart or any other website, they will send you an invoice. So mostly that invoice will be of PDF file. Now let's see, if I'm going to activities and then I'm going to search PDF, you don't see any activity relevant to PDF. But I said I'll be dealing with PDF activities. So how is that possible? Any idea, anybody? Just 5 seconds. Any idea how do I help you to do that PDF related activities? Okay.
Flow.
Okay. So when I'm saying PDF in the search, let's say like we learned already write line. When I typed the write line, automatically it is showing you all the activities which is containing a text called write. But when I said PDF automation is possible, but when I'm saying PDF, I don't see any activity. So for that, one of the important feature of UiPath you need to understand is you go to project. By default, you see Excel activities, email activities, system activities, UI automation activities. But I don't see any PDF dependency here. Now to add that PDF dependency, you should go to manage packages and go to all packages and go to search and just say PDF. Now when you type PDF, you have this PDF activities which is from UiPath. You just say install and then just save. So anything, any activity, if you are not able to find in the activities list, then you should come to manage packages and search for that package and then install it, then save it, then make sure this particular dependency is added to your project. That is something I'll show you now. So flowchart, manage packages. We have learned steps to install and save and also to see if it's downloaded. Now let's go back to Studio. Now see whatever I've just now added PDF activity, that you can see it in the dependencies section, the PDF activity, which is of version 3.6.0. Now if I go back to activities, then type PDF, then you see list of PDF activities available for you. Let's say if you don't want PDF, and one important suggestion is, if you're not dealing with PDF, let's say if you're not dealing with Excel activities, just right click and say remove dependency. If you're not dealing with PDF, just say right click and then remove dependency. Let's say so far we are not dealing with email activities because I'm not sending any emails, right, to anybody. So if I don't want email activities, simply go right click and say remove dependencies, and then that reference or the dependency will be removed from your project. So the strong suggestion is whatever dependency you need for your project, only put them in your dependencies, rest of them you delete it from there. Like whatever I'm doing it now, remove that dependency. The reason for that is execution time of your robot will be faster if you remove the unwanted dependencies in your project. Okay, that is the important thing you need to understand. And whatever dependencies you have added or you removed or whatever, where do I see that? Do I need to see that only by opening the UiPath Studio? The answer for that, again I'll ask you this interview question. Only if I open the UiPath Studio, then only would I see the dependencies list, or is there any other way? Yes, there is another way. Now how do I do that is I can go to File Explorer, this folder option, and then here you will have an option called project.json file. Just go to that file, right click and say open. When you open that, it will, without you open the UiPath Studio also, this will tell you what are the dependencies. Now dependencies, if you see, Excel activities is a dependency, PDF is something which we have just now created, system activities, UI automation. We removed mail activities, so that mail activities is not coming up here. So project JSON also will tell you, other than dependency, what is the project name you have created, what is the description you have put. I have told you should basically create a description saying what is your robot doing, high level description about your project. Everything will be shown in your project.json file, which is going to available in your project, right? So that is the answer. If somebody is asking you, without opening UiPath Studio, can we see the dependencies added in your project? And that is the answer. So that's all you see in the project section. Activities, the list of activities wherever you do the development. Output, I showed you the list of outputs, whatever we show, whatever we display, whatever we put the log message, that will go to output section. And properties, for every activity there will be a property. For example, if you want to click somewhere, for example click, let me take this click activity. Now this click activity will have a property. So like that, every activity, whatever you have in UiPath will have the property. That properties we will learn step by step. For example, input dialog box does not need to understand more. So I have not touched anything about input dialog box. But when we are dealing about click activity, I will tell you more about this properties section. But properties means the every activity will have its own properties that you can see at the right hand side in the UiPath Studio, right? So variables we just started today. We will keep continuing about creating the variables, and this is my mistake. If it is a variable type of integer, we should basically say int underscore employee salary. Arguments is the next topic. Imports is again the new things. So most of the panels have covered from our day 1 and day 2. That's it from my side today. If anything else from anybody, this is the time you can ask. If no other questions, thanks for joining. You can drop off the call.
Vamshi, we need that complete downloading process of UI Studio, like installing
Okay, okay.
that one.
I think 2 of them already dropped off.
Yeah.
So what you can do is, you just type uipath.com, and then when you go to UiPath official website, here you'll have an option called try UiPath free. Just click on that try UiPath free option, and then you need to basically register yourself with your Gmail ID, your Google account, your whatever account you have. After you do that, you would basically navigate to a cloud account. If somebody wanted to share your screen, maybe tomorrow we can We can do that when with in front of everybody. But make sure you are already created this account. Once you create this account, you would basically go to Automation Cloud website. Okay, this website you will go. For example, I'm already into this website, so I'll just say continue with Google. Mm, Okay, this is my account. Sorry. Sorry, I don't have my phone, but the step is you need to log into this account and then you would just a moment. Just a moment.
No, actually, no. Wait. Actually, day before yesterday, I just installed, okay. And when I run the program, it was showing some validation error.
Can you?
Even I checked with Vajrang also.
Mhm.
Then he told you to check with you. But I uninstalled that actually.
Can you?
I think might
Can
be
you?
it went
Can
wrong.
we redo now, Vidya?
Yeah, like as of now, my laptop was not good. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'll just try and I'll let you know again.
Okay, I'm just resharing my screen. So after you log into your account, what happens, I will tell you. For the other people who have not yet started the thing, hope you are seeing my screen. I'm showing you something called Automation Cloud. Hope you are seeing my screen. Can somebody?
Yes, Vamshi.
Yeah, so here you'll have an option called Download uipathstudio. When you just download this uipathstudio, you are done. Your studio will be downloaded, and then you do the basic installation, and then your uipath will be ready. If anybody have any problem in downloading uipathstudio, just let me know by tomorrow 7 p.m. IST. By 7:30, I'll try to log in, and by 8 o'clock, I'll try to fix all of your issues. And then we can continue tomorrow's class as usual. Okay, by 7:30 you
Okay.
try, and then by 7:30 just put in the
Okay.
group that you are having issues in using uipath. But it's very simple thing. Download Studio, then do next, and then you will see uipath installed in your laptop. You will have this option uipath Studio. Okay.
Yes.
Any other concerns?
Okay.
Any other issues? Anybody? Okay.
Say all good.
Okay. Thanks. If no other points, I think we can drop off for today. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Vamshi.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Vamshi.
Thanks.